Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest. Not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
And another thing you notice, the first thing they say, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. That's what it's all about. After they get them dogging you out of it, before they dog you out, that's the first thing they say. If you like this video, make sure you hit.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Hello, everyone, and happy Saturday. It is Pam Esquire, also known as Your Law Intellect. I'm not going to be before you long. I know that it's late, but if you could be so kind as to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You know, all of that preliminary stuff. I decided to hop on because I posted some stuff in the membership and I had a couple of people that asked me, could you talk about the witness list and the gag order request? I think oftentimes I forget. And shout out to Real Talk Bougie. She been watching that docket like a hawk. She got alerts or something. But she broke that last night that there was a gag order, and she actually sent me the document as well. So shout out to her for breaking that news and information. But I think it's a lot of times, I guess, I forget that maybe sometimes you guys don't really understand some of the stuff that happened, because a lot of this stuff is par for the course, like in when you litigate all of the time. So things like the preliminary witness list and all of the motions that were filed is something that is not uncommon. Now, the gag order and the way it was written is something totally different. That is not, it's not like it's never happened, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. Thank you guys so much for coming in with me. Thank you so much, Real Talk Bougie, for your diligence and also sending me the documents. And thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Right, Bougie with the documents. And then those phone calls from prison, they just kind of irritated me a little bit just with all of the talking. And shout out to you guys who also go over those videos, because I just could not rewatch some of that stuff because the talking and the bad information just makes me, as a lawyer, just irritates me. So Panda Bear, thank you for being a member for 1 month. I appreciate that. I see all you guys coming in. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. No matter how late it is and how random I come on, I appreciate it. So let's talk about this witness list. I've seen a couple conversations, commentary on the witness list. I think Bougie might have broke that too. When the witness list was dropped. That was dropped first. I believe it was on the 30th. And let me first say, with a preliminary witness list is something that every attorney does. So what happens, just so you guys can get a better understanding, is, let me pull this up real quick. You know, I get right to the point, especially when it's late. But when you have a witness list, so say for instance, it's a car accident, and I am the attorney for the car accident. When you do a preliminary witness list, you basically list anybody that you think may have knowledge of whatever the situation is or whatever the issue is in your case. So when you do preliminary witness list, it's whatever names that you really think like may have information. You may or may not call them. It's best to put them on the witness list because if you need them later on, you won't be able to use them if you don't disclose them. But if I list, say I get a police report and it has John Doe X witnessed my person's car accident, I'm going to list them. I may not necessarily know what they're going to say at the time I list them. I may not necessarily know if they have anything that is relevant or even beneficial to my client, but I do have to name them. Now, throughout the course, when you do discovery and investigate, you may actually update that witness list and you may add. Now, towards the end, the judge is going to want to know. That's why you have final pretrial orders and they're joint, where you put your actual people on there, right? So just because you have a slew of people on there, so most witness lists are going to have every officer. If they're on a police report, it may be the officer on the scene, the officer that reviewed it, the officer that looked it over, the supervisor. They'll list everybody because you want to keep it, keep everyone covered just in case you need them. That does not mean that any of these people have even been talked to, approached, or even know much about it. In addition, on witness list, you will have the custodians. That is when you get records such as there is allegations related to, say it's allegations related to some theft involving transactions at a bank. And I think they may have something like that on here. So you'll see, let me go down to, you'll see all these different police departments. But when it'll say custodian of records at Big Tex Trailer Manufacturing. That's the person who can authenticate and who can lay the foundation for the records. So when you see people on the stand, you say, I'm handing you a document. It's marked as the state's proposed exhibit at 1. Pam, do you recognize that? Yes. What is this? This is a document that is actually a bank record. And is this in the same or substantial order as it was when you first had it? Has it been altered in any way? No, it has not. And is this kept in the course of it? You lay a foundation because anybody could just come up with something they can edit. You've seen people that know how to, even with text messages, some of them are fake. Like you have authentication. So you have the person that's considered the custodian of the records. So right here, it has custodian records of Bank of America, all of them. Now, a lot of times when it comes to custodians, we'll stipulate. If we're going to allow it to be in, we'll just agree. Because who the heck wants to waste all that time trying to establish the foundations for the records? But just because that doesn't mean the same as someone getting subpoenaed. Now, if I subpoena you, then that means that you are going to be called in. And I have subpoena power as an officer of the court within the case. That means I have to call you in. A preliminary witness list does not mean anybody was subpoenaed. It doesn't even necessarily mean anybody was even spoken to. But they may have, based on the information, any name you hear, any proposed name you hear. So like on this witness list, I noticed, remember there was a case that Mr. Williams had in 2015. And it got nolle prost, I believe. Well, that person that was on that case that was alleged, let me see if I can pull that case up real quick. She was on the witness list as well. So it's like anybody with any information or potential information at this point may find themselves on this witness list because that's what you do. Because we're not an ambush judicial system. So like how you watch Matlock and people come in and they're like, hold on 1 second. And everyone's like, in the back of the court. And they're like, order in the court. That's TV. We don't do ambush litigation. We all know on each side. So hit anybody on this list, the other side has the ability to contact those people as well and also interview them as well. Let me see this 2015 case he had. No, it's not redacted. Oh, yes, it is. Let's see. Let's see. So let me see. Thank you so much, Sipping That Tea. You said, as an attorney, how do you feel about Sonia saying to call Nestor's friends who he met in jail and as a character witness? Would you do that? I can't wait for the answer. So, no, I would not do that. I wouldn't do that for a number of reasons. First of all, when you open up the door for character, that means you open up the door for the other side to show your lack of character. So if you decide you want to have character witnesses, that's not anything the state can automatically go to evidence against your character. But if you open up that door and you say he's a great person, everything about him is wonderful, he would never do this, he's never done. First of all, how easy is that to debunk as on the other side? How easy would that be to debunk if you're talking about Sonia, who's only known him for 2.5 seconds? Or even if you're talking about if you get some of the other people that I guess he may have known back in the day from his incarceration, unless you've been with him every single day, you really don't know what anybody's going to do. So I don't know how beneficial that will be, but you have to be very, very careful when you start talking about introducing anybody's character, because you open up the door where now the state can talk about your lack thereof as well. It's not just one-sided. So I would stay away from that, but hey, that's just me. So this case right here was an indictment in 2015. And remember, I told you it was Shirley married Nesto in January of 2015. In June of 2015, there was an indictment. And this person accused him of theft by deception. And they said on October 2013, the accused did create the impression that the accused would provide the victim, Crystal Waters, with an RV, which was to serve as a mobile barbershop in exchange for $10,000 US currency. The accused received the cash and has failed to provide the vehicle despite numerous attempts by the victim to have the accused provide the vehicle in question or return the funds given to the accused. And then there was a second one as well, but it was no lay priced, right? So I don't think that he even, unless there was some arrangement, I don't know, but it was no lay price where they chose not to, they being the prosecution chose not to prosecute. Well, if you look on the witness list, that same person is on this witness list. So if you look on here, you see Crystal Waters. And that was from the case in 2015. So oftentimes, anybody that you think is connected or may have any information, it's better to have more than to not have enough, or to omit someone and then you end up needing them. You rather put them on there and don't need them. So now the defense cannot come with an argument of, we didn't even know anything about this, Your Honor. We didn't know about this person. We didn't have time to interview them. We couldn't get our investigator. We know they have an investigator on the case because he follows them everywhere that they go. So we already know that there is an investigator on the case. So it eliminates that accusation that you didn't know, or that this person may come and actually testify. So being on a preliminary witness list is not the same as being subpoenaed for a case. Being subpoenaed is actually, you better come or you gonna have a problem with the court. You're defying a court because you have usually pro se people who represent themselves. The judge has to sign a subpoena, but when you're within a case, the attorney has subpoena power. So we can subpoena people within a case. So that's different than us just throwing a preliminary examination. Now, I mean, a preliminary list. But if, for instance, they have a preliminary examination and they want one of those witnesses to show up, they may subpoena them. So right now, honestly, we don't know who they're going to call. We don't know who they're going to end up calling in this trial. But And then the other motions, they were pretty standard. You have motions for discovery. You're going to see a slew of motions between now and whenever they have their final pre-trial or status conference or whatever they call them in Georgia. Between now and then, they're probably going to try to do motions to suppress. They're probably going to try to do motions to see what they could throw out. They're going to try. It's going to be a whole lot of motions, and it's going to be on both sides that they're going to try to do certain motions. The prosecution is probably going to do a motion for other bad acts because he has a history of some of this stuff already, and they have to give notice that they planned on presenting other bad acts in. So you're going to see a lot of motion practice back and forth over the next 6 months. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, we have that understood. Now, Lisa Jones said, I can't wait for this court case. It'll be very, very interesting. It is. It's going to be very interesting. So, the gag order, again, shout out to Bougie because she did send that to me last night. The gag order, for some of you guys that didn't see it, on the 31st, when a lot of these other motions were filed by the defense, which is Ernest Williams, he did an actual motion for imposition of a gag order on the prosecution, counsel for the defense, potential witnesses, court personnel, members of law enforcement investigating Ernest Williams, and members of the media. First of all, this is very, very broad. I told Bougie I wasn't going to say too much about this when she told me, and I wasn't really going to talk about it because I feel like when you say media, it's such a broad stroke where it includes all of us that are actually out here. And if I got to go in and argue something, I don't show my hand with whatever I'm going to argue. But I do think that, in my opinion, a lot of this, if I were to guess, I would guess that some of this came because Ernest Williams probably complained about us talking about this case. And then now you have, for those of you, I know you guys sent me, I did see that Madam DA has talked about this case as well. But this has a lot of constitutional issues. This request has constitutional issues that I don't know they would be able to overcome. So this is, let me see if I can find this video real quick because everybody may not have seen it. This came out and let me see. This isn't a full one because I think the one I had was a couple of minutes long, maybe. Let me see. Let me see. I had so many people send it to me. I should be able to pull this up immediately. And then there was also an article that was in, was it New York Post? So now it's starting to get a bit more traction. I think before it was, well, I know it was a lot of the us YouTubers that were the ones that were discussing this case. Let me see.
And Ashley, investigators believe there may be even more victims.
Yeah, Karen and Wendy, they say this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are a list of allegations listed in this 39-count indictment. Now, that individual, Ernest Williams, had his arraignment here at the Fulton County Courthouse earlier this week. Now, this indictment, they claim Mr. Williams knowingly defrauded dozens out of thousands of dollars.
He's been conning people from 2009 to 2022.
The Fulton County District Attorney says Ernest Williams was anything but earnest when he allegedly took advantage of multiple victims for financial benefit.
The big picture is that Ernest Williams is a con man.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis spoke exclusively with Channel 2 about her decision to seek charges under the Georgia Racketeer Influences and Corrupt Organization Act. Williams was arraigned in court this week after a grand jury indicted him last month.
He would pretend to be a legitimate businessman, but he was stealing from people United States currency, vehicles, and really just taking advantage of people.
The indictment claims Ernest fraudulently married popular radio personality Shirley Strawberry. Strawberry is a co-host on the renowned Steve Harvey Morning Show.
To create this impression of some level of success and use that to scam other people.
Documents claim he knowingly went into the marriage with ulterior motives.
He was married at the time that he married Shirley Strawberry.
Attorneys allege Williams used that marriage to gain access to victims. Over the course of 12 years, documents suggest Williams scanned at least 25 victims out of more than $750,000.
Ernest Williams often kind of created this impression of a close relationship or a romantic relationship with many of these victims, used those relationships to take money, vehicles, vehicle trailers, RVs, and other property from them.
And Williams is being represented by the Public Defender's Office. I did reach out to them this afternoon. They told me they did not want to comment on this case. Now, there is a co-defendant or co-conspirator listed in this indictment on allegations that she allegedly pretended to be an attorney representing Williams. I'll break down those details tonight on Channel 2 Action News at 6. Reporting live in downtown, Ashley Lincoln, Channel 2 Action News.
Okay, first of all, I want you guys to listen to what was even said by Madam DA and Bill Wooten. They didn't say anything that we didn't know already. The only thing that they said was what was already public. Typically, first of all, gag orders are an exceptional request. So you have to have exceptional circumstances in order for you to have a gag order that is granted. They literally didn't say anything that we didn't know already. The only thing was that they actually mentioned briefly the indictment, which is public record. They did not leak any evidence that we don't know about. They did not leak anything confidential. They did not leak anything that, the public just wasn't privy about. So there is no exceptional circumstance on what was being said. What I think the attorney did by just generally stating that they also want the defense counsel for the defense not to say anything too, because they want to make it like they're not being biased on one side and not the other. Like, we're going to be quiet as well. There's just it's a lot of constitutional issues with this. So what will probably happen? Well, it can be one of two things. Wooten and Madam DA may feel like they don't want to talk about this anymore anyway, and perhaps they don't care whether it's one way or the other. It's probably going to be the media that does most of the kicking and the screaming in this case, because you cannot properly gather news information and you cannot properly do your job if you're being gagged for absolutely no reason. This is very generalized. When you look at this gag order where it says, comes now defendant Ernest Williams by and through his undersigned counsel of record, and hereby moves the court to order that neither counsel for the state nor for any of the defendants, potential witnesses, court personnel, members of law enforcement investigating Ernest Williams, and members of the media shall, from the date of the filing of this motion until the disposition of the within case, make any statements Like, don't talk at all. That's a problem. About or release information concerning the within case to any individual or entity, including but not limited to radio, television, social media, podcasts, the internet, newspaper reporters. Ernest Williams respectfully submits that a strict gag order should be imposed in this case, covering not only counsel, but all potential witnesses. Do you guys see how long that witness list is? All potential. So what you're saying is your client could be out here running a whole muck on this internet and can say whatever he wants to say, call in and do and talk about some of the people that's in this case. But if any of them decide that they want to say what they're alleging happened to them, they should have to be quiet. So the purpose of this attorney, I guess, saying that from this day forward is because I'm sure he's aware that his client has been out here on these YouTube streets running around and talking about this case. So now it's like, let's try to make it fair where it looks like we're not trying to be one-sided and just want people that aren't talking great about his client to be quiet. We're trying to say collectively we want everyone to be quiet. There are constitutional issues with this request. Now, what will be interesting is because now you do have, quote, mainstream media that is covering this case. If they will respond to this, and then other people add or join in with them. Now, we can do it pro se on our own, and do our own, and some people may try to join it, but typically the mainstream media, they'll do it, and then you'll have other, like the Atlanta Constitutional, and all those other places, the other media outlets that are well known in Atlanta usually join them, from the ones that I've seen when they try to do these restraints. But it's going to be very, very interesting. I'd never say what a judge will or will not do, but I will say there are a lot of constitutional issues. It's major constitutional issues with this. And if for instance, the judge were to grant something like this, this is definitely appealable. This is something that you can appeal immediately. So it's not like it'll be a one and done if somebody feels like that they don't like the judge's decision. But it has Ernest Williams respectfully submits a strict gag order should be imposed in this case, covering not only counsel, but all potential witnesses, law enforcement officials, the ones that he's talked about and said that they used him to come up in their career. He don't want them to defend themselves or say anything in the media, who either will or might testify at the trial of this case, and members of the media who have information concerning the matter that forms the subject of the within the indictment. The only way that we would have information concerning this indictment is if it's public. We don't have discovery. We don't have access to discovery. We don't have, we never seen even on that, we've never seen any documents that they're relying on. The only thing that we have is what is under the Freedom of Information Act. How do you really say constitutionally, I want you, judge, to tell the people that they can't get what they're entitled to just as a citizen of this here United States of America? It's going to be a tough hurdle. It's going to be a tough hurdle. Now, again, I can totally see it. Say, for instance, I'm just going to say a general example. If it's an unaliving case and we don't know anything about what the weapon was, it was never out in the public and it's not on any documents. And then all of a sudden that gets leaked out. Okay, there's a leak somewhere. So you may want to ask for a gag order that you can't talk about it because somehow it's prejudiced it's prejudicial to the defendant, because that's what it is about whether it's prejudicial or not, or it's going to affect the integrity of the case. I don't see it. I personally don't see it, but again, I'm not going to give you guys a whole constitutional lesson because it may have to go in writing, but I think that there are definitely constitutional issues there. And if I were to guess, like I said, it was probably kicking and screaming from the client, and the client may have wanted him to at least try. Reach for the stars, and maybe the judge would give us something so somebody could stop talking about it. Georgia has a broad, even their constitution is very broad when it comes to having an open and public forum, when it comes even to watching these legal matters. And they usually err on the side of an open public forum and open information for the citizens. So let me look at some of your questions. Hey, Eve B. You said that's who needs not being funny at all. Listening to, that not even, okay, we can assume that she didn't know about the public being able to have access to the phone calls. The things that she was saying in those phone calls were so ridiculous to me that, again, hopefully she's being told to not talk about anything. Don't do it on a phone call. Don't do it on a face-to-face call. You better get your pen and your paper like the old school and write a letter or something, because she says things. Oftentimes, she has put him, me as when I did criminal, I did defense. I don't automatically just go towards what the state says that how it happened. I can find where there may be some doubt or some iffiness or whatever, because that's the side that I practice on. I've never done prosecution. But what Sonia tends to do a lot is, in her conversation, she connects him to a lot of these people, and it's crazy to me. You don't put your client in places. You let the prosecution do their job. So just like on the call today, she kept saying something about it was just a relationship. It was just a relationship. So because you're saying that, you're giving the impression that your argument or your defense is going to be, y'all in a relationship? Like what are we talking about here? Like, a lot of the stuff is you put them in, though, with the house. Oh yeah, my car was in the driveway. You put yourself in this situation. Like, you put yourself there on the scene. That's kind of like it's just the weirdest thing to me. She needs to be the one to stop talking. And I get it. I'm going to say it from her perspective, is she's trying to give him hope. She's trying to give him faith, because she is his support. She's his support system. So she's trying to give him this level, something to hold on to, because at this point he may have been starting to be defeated. So she comes up with all of this stuff, just like in the conversation. It's like, why don't you just read the entire complaint, the incident report? Because she said in the call, she's like, unless it was bad checks or something being written, it's all civil. Did you read the incident report? Because that's pretty much what they said, is that they had checks that were written and they came back and they bounced. That's how they got back to this point. So you're basically solidifying what the accusation is. Just be quiet. So to try to tell us, at least we're trying to get all the information from everybody, she's doing more harm than good of what she's doing. But we have the right, especially when you get out here and there are accusations about a whole police department, and you keep talking about the corruption, and you keep talking about that. we have the right to know, well, what is going on with this police department? Is it like this or is it not like this? A lot of his accusations make you even more prone to want to know what goes on, what was going on over there. So I don't see it passing constitutional muster, as we say. So let me go over here. Let me start at the bottom. Thank you, a lady, for the super sticker. Alan Speed UPenn alum says Sonya has auditioned in him all over YouTube. Yeah, she's done like 4 interviews, I think. Crystal says, so does the gag order apply to Sonya? In theory, she's not a party to the case. Look, when you look at this, that's an interesting question. When you actually look at this, they're asking that not only the counsel, but all potential witnesses, law enforcement who either will or might testify at the trial of this case, and members of the media. Does she fall under any of this stuff? Because she said on a lot of her lives that they shouldn't call her because she doesn't know anything. So you're saying you don't have anything to offer, so you're not a potential witness. So you want all of us to be quiet, and what you just gonna keep going around running amok talking how you want to talk? So I don't even know if based on this it would apply. So then the attorney goes on and says the reason is because Ernest Williams would assert that a gag order is appropriate in this case because of the inordinate amount of publicity that has been given and will be given to this case leading up to and during trial, and the entry of such an order is imperative to ensure Ernest Williams' right to a fair trial and impartial jury. There's several cases of which there was inordinate publicity. I'm sure Donald Trump had inordinate amount of publicity. So, like I said, I don't see it. Rose said, thank you, Pam, for breadlining those breaking those down. It was on, they're calling people if and she straight sound like me. And I can't read that, Rosie. I'm sorry. I was trying. Sassy, thank you so much for becoming a member. Queen BG, thank you for the super sticker. GC said, please hit the like button. Attorney Pam keeps the intellects updated with legal knowledge. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate you. Thank you, GC. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Unita Sims, thank you so much for gifting 5 members. Make sure you thank her. And welcome to the Intellects. Care Bear, thank you for the super sticker. He talked about his own case on channels. That's what I'm saying. That's why the attorney had to be very clear and say from this time forward, because I think obviously he's aware of his client talking as well. Thank you, Sis Be Traveling, for gifting the 5 memberships. Welcome all the new intellects. You have 1 minute remaining. You said, thanks for all you do, Pammy Pam. Thank you. Night Skin, thank you for the super chat. Pam, would you represent Nefto if he paid you? June's Poetry, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate that. Patrice, thank you so much for gifting the memberships. Welcome all the new intellects. Why isn't Sonya on the list? She says she doesn't know anything. That's what she said. Know your own worth. Thank you for becoming a member. Late Night Pam got 1K in the chat. Hate on the haters. Thank you, Face Speaks. Thank you for the 2,000 up in here at 11:30. Make sure you hit the like button. Couldn't wait to hear your breakdown of the Nesto shenanigans. Thank you, Patty Patty. No, I really wasn't. When you have other chat channels that talk about it, I don't like to be repetitive unless it's something that I can add. And kind of glancing at the channels, I can tell that maybe there were some misunderstandings of what these pleadings were. So I just wanted to be able to answer a few questions and then tell you generally what you were looking at. Fly Girl said, "Hey, Pammy Pam. Hey, love to shop 1212. Thank you, Pam, for coming out tonight. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that." But yeah, let me see what we got in this chat here because I'm about to get up off of here. Told you guys I wasn't going to be on here too long because I'm not going to interesting. There's some constitutional issues for sure. You said Danny IRL said this gets more interesting every day. Oh yeah, it's gonna get better and better. It's gonna get gooder and gooder. Trust me. I appreciate you guys too. Yeah, shout out to Real Talk Bougie. Yes, she can Sonya be pulled into this case because of the info she shared about witnesses linking him with YouTubers and the things she said. You know, they can do whatever they want to do in a case. But that's why when people ask that question, if they feel like it's something that she's done wrong, that would be something totally different. But as far as what knowledge she would know, as far as these ladies, a lot of things she said was speculative. She doesn't know these ladies. She didn't know. We know she didn't know these ladies existed when she first started talking to him because she asked him on the earlier phone calls, like, I know you have a wife, but who else do you talk to? So I don't think she knew about all these other ladies that he had these relationships with, allegedly, according to the document. She didn't know about those. So how can she, what's she going to testify to? You only can testify as to personal knowledge. So as far as specifics of her case, of his case, I don't see how she would benefit unless, for instance, she's trying to be an alibi witness or something and saying she was with him on days that they're saying he was doing something else or something like that. I don't see why she would be called for the case per se. Now, if some witnesses have some complaints or they've contacted the DA or they feel some kind of way about how her behavior is and they feel like it's something else to it, that would be, I guess it would be connected to the case, but it wouldn't be in the case, like have to do with actually what he's indicted for. So anybody can, if that's what the government feels that they're doing wrong, that they're doing something wrong out here. He's the one that married a public figure. Now he has a problem with publicity and his right to a fair trial and impartial jury. Well, he literally said he wants to get his side of the story out when he came out. And he's talked about different individuals and different people. So like I don't even get to that part. Like you would see if I had to respond, like I wouldn't even necessarily even get to that part yet. It would obviously come up about how he's out there, but there's so many issues with this right here. Just generally on basic constitution, what they are requesting. So I just want to see if what would be interesting is, of course, Madam DA, Fonnie Willis, and Wooten, they've already talked. They may not plan on talking again. We don't know if they plan on. So do they care or do they not? You know, or they may respond. And if they respond, I'm sure they know exactly what to say. Again, I'm sure there's going to be some media. I think somebody told me that Dennis has already drafted something. I don't know if it's files or whatever, but I guess he's drafted something to turn it in as media because I think he's done this before. He's had some issues where they were trying to prevent media from being in the building. So this is not too far off from when like Miss Rondon was trying to keep us from being able to record. They're along the same lines. some of the same issues. So yeah, let me see. Make sure you guys please hit the like button on your way in. It's over 2,000 of you guys in here. Thank you, Lady T, for becoming a member. I appreciate you. That Fonnie didn't get a gag order on media for her situation, so why should he? And with that Fonnie Willis case, going back to that with Nathan Wade, if you guys recall, his wife, you know, they're going through the divorce. They were somehow able to get their record sealed without people knowing anything about it. But once he got on the Trump case, of course, the media got interested in it. So they intervened and they filed a motion to unseal those records. And it was granted because that's public record. There was no evidentiary hearing. There was no reason for them to seal those documents. But they were able to do it because he went through this divorce pretty quietly until he started being the lead person or on the Trump trial. And of course, you're dealing with Trump, they're going to turn over every rock. Everybody, all of those attorneys are trying to find what they could find. They found out about Wade and they found out about the divorce and found out about this alleged, you know, relationship with Miss Willis and all of that. And that was a situation that they were able to somehow seal before the media even knew about it. So, of course, the media wasn't trying to get the documents. But as soon as the media found out about it, they got that unsealed. Like, I watched the motion. It was real quick. And the judge was like, I'm ordering that everything is unsealed. And it was unsealed within an hour or two. And everybody had the documents. Funny how he wanted to be seen on social media when he was promoting and peacocking all over before he went to jail. Now he wants everything secret. Well, if he's utilized the media. He did the GoFundMe. You wanted the public. You wanted the public to pay for your defense. Why? Let's look back at why he wanted the public to pay for his defense. The reason why he wanted that to happen was because Sonia relayed to him that there were people in the chat that were on his side that said that stuff didn't sound right. They knew that sometimes the police cannot be honest and all of these different excuses that these alleged people were saying in the chat. So that gave Nesto the impression that he had people out here that would be willing to help fight him on this case because they believe him. So you ask this same public that now you want to not be able to talk again to support you and pay for your defense. And now you want to get a gag order. Just adding to my retainer fee. Appreciate you, Pat, baby. Thank you, Pat, for all you do. We love you. I love you back, 504. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. She was telling him, oh no, there's a lot of people out here that believe you. They know. I mean, you got people that's out here. And that's why she started the GoFundMe. And you were asking for the public support. The purpose of going on Tasha K, who has well over 1 million subscribers, was because you wanted to get your story out. You called in because you wanted your side of the story out. So the problem is you don't feel like your side of the story is getting the traction that you want. And so now you want to gag people. That's not how that works. That is not how it works at all. High Vibe said to GoFundMe with no funds. And then I don't know what I didn't even know you can ask for defense money on GoFundMe's. I didn't even know that. But I heard everybody got refunded their money that requested it. Yeah, he wants to, just said Pam Esquire in chat. Now he wants to shut us out. I hope his GoFundMe comes up. It was okay then. Mammy Fresh lied to her. Well, it's so much. I just don't even want to clearly we're being watched, and there are probably a lot of videos about Ernest Williams that are out here. Everyone has covered this. There have been so much, but honestly, the reason why he's had so many videos about him is because he's participated in them. If he didn't do it on his own, he gave one thing that Sonia said was he gave her permission to talk. He knew everything she was doing because everything was to benefit him. He could have said, no, 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 don't talk on my behalf. That's what his son told him to do. The media is not helping you. Well, she know what she doing, so I trust what she say. And this is how all of this stuff started. She gave more content. She would go on somebody's platform, and then that would be a video for somebody on YouTube to critique. She would end up in the chat like she's been in my chat before. And then that conversation ended up being a conversation that we end up having. She would say certain things, and then it would make us look it up to see how true it is, and then we'll find something else. It's literally like she has helped keep this going. She has literally kept adding fuel to the fire where it would not have been this much content at all. Because again, for the most part, I try to stick to the documents, and I try to stick to court hearings and tell you from that perspective so you guys understand just in layman's term what's going on in court. That's pretty much what I try to stick to. But with her, when you give certain information and you put it out there and it's inaccurate and you're saying it's legal information, you giving me more stuff to talk about, because I'm like, girl, that's not how that works. Who told you that? So, I mean, but I like that for them. Like, thank you, Louise and Tyra, for the cash apps. I appreciate you. Dre was reluctant about Sonia as well. Well, I'm not really, I mean, shout out to him for being able to continuously listen to her, because I just can't really do it. But really, she is about all that he has at this point, what it appears. But I think it was foolish to risk your relationship with your wife. I guess in his mind, of course, he didn't know that these calls were going to come out. But you did know. How we knew about Sonia originally was not from calls. We knew about Sonia from the Zoom hearing, which was streamed online on YouTube for everybody to see on public platform. So that's how we learned about Sonia. Everybody didn't know her name. Everybody didn't know her name at first. They were just calling her the girlfriend. But that's how we knew that. So you were talking, if Shirley didn't know nothing, she knew from that video you were talking to somebody else. So you were willing to risk this person that was supportive of you. She was avoiding, she didn't want to talk to the police. She was like, they keep telling me you don't know him. And I'm like, yes, I do. You know, like she was paying for his attorney. You can't tell me she didn't believe in him as much money as she paid. At least initially, she did believe in him. And like she said, she was trying to stand by her man. She did that. He risked all of that for her, for Sonya. So he might as well stay with her at this point. He might as well go ahead and stay with her. And honestly, I know Shirley, I can't imagine how Shirley feels with all of this. It's embarrassing. She is really a private person. And she tried, just like how she was able to keep the fact he was in jail for almost a year. We didn't know in 2015 anything about what happened in 2015 until we started really looking into stuff that had to do with him. Like, we're looking for the current cases and we find old cases on the docket. So we didn't know anything about, you know, that. She was able to keep it close to home. So, you know, she's a private person. So, but honestly, him just having Sonya, that would be enough punishment for me. I would be like, that's cool. When the Bible say vengeance is mine, he can do it better than you can. Absolutely. And then to put your boss on the list, as a preliminary potential witness, your boss is on the list and it's being reported that they've talked to him and all of that. They probably haven't even talked to Steve Harvey. I would be surprised if they even talked to him. What information? And then I would want to know what information he would have as it relates to this case. I think his would probably be more pertaining to maybe the bigamy charge because he walked her down the aisle. He's the one that walked her down the aisle. And then, like they said, the custodians of the Fulton County records. Remember, we had the divorce decree from Martha, which didn't happen until 2021. So they can have that document when it comes to that charge. So it's just was it true that Boneytail repped the first attorney office and called Shirley to tell her husband is trying to get in touch with her? Oh, I don't know, Jocelyn Victors. I haven't heard that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Shirley is probably dreading what Marjorie will say about Steve being dragged into this. Yes, I think that's horrible to have your boss get drunk. Like you're trying to keep everything as private as possible, even though Steve said he already knew on the morning show. But you're trying to keep things as private as possible. And then your boss gets dragged into this. And then to be of that age and feel like you got bamboozled and hoodwinked like that. Why would they shut y'all up? Y'all built some of the case. You know what? One of one. No, we didn't. We just did. Now it's cool when the New York Times and Rolling Stone, they do whole exposés. It's not a problem with that. But when we start digging and get a little investigation, you want to shut us up. Like we don't have any constitutional rights. I love you back. Thank you so much. It's 2,300 of you guys. Make sure you hit the like button. I hope I answered your questions. Again, I would of course, if I decide to get involved in any way or respond, hopefully, like I said, the news media will do it. Then I'll let you guys know because obviously that response will be public. But jury or judge trial? Are you asking me what he should have or what he's gonna have? He can choose a bench trial or he can choose a jury trial. I would assume he's going to have a jury trial or he plans on, you can always change your mind, but have a jury trial if he says that during that part of the reason why he wants the gag order is because it's imperative to ensure Ernest Williams' right to a fair trial and impartial jury. So I would assume based off of that as of now, they are assuming it's going to be a jury trial. So well, Chronicle Speaks talked about Edith. The bigamy is about, I've never really seen anything on Edith. She had, Chronicle Speaks says she had direct conversation, I guess, with Edith via email. I never had any information on Edith. I saw what she had, so that's all Chronicle Speaks. But all I knew about was Martha. And how I knew about Martha, because I knew about Carol Lamar. And you guys saw that on, you guys seen the Carol Lamar, I posted a link to about her, and that when Erica said she was a gospel singer, she actually is like, she know how to sing a little bit. I was like, okay, Carol. Then I also found, oh man, I don't know, I can't sign into my Facebook, but I was looking at something in 2000 and let me see, Carol, the Lamar sisters. But yeah, but I knew about Martha because I seen about Carol married Ernest, and he was still married to Martha when he married Carol Lamar. But Carol Lamar divorced him almost as soon as she got with him. She was only with him for a year. Now, that's who Erica is claiming went to her church, how she met Ernest in the first place, is through Carol Lamar. But their marriage didn't last that long, and she got a divorce. So it was like within a year, she got a divorce. But Martha remained married to him until there's divorce documents that you can pull that she didn't divorce him till 2021, and he married Shirley Strawberry in 2015. So that was the only, and that's the one that's in the indictment, is the one about Martha. It's not about Carol Lamar. But I was looking at this. It has if you go to the Lamar sisters YouTube, not YouTube, I'm sorry, Facebook page, they had a grand opening, right? So at this grand opening, it was July 20th through the 26th. What year was this thing posted? It was posted in 2015. So this was literally, so he married Shirley Strawberry January 2015. This right here is July of 26th of 2015. There is a flyer for a grand opening of which Ebony Steele, who, remember, he was engaged, I guess, to Ebony Steele. She was hosting on this. She was the host of some comedy show. But then they also had the Lamar sisters were doing gospels on the same show. I was like, what? So the Lamar sisters was actually on this flyer at the bottom doing a show at this same grand opening that Ebony Steele was the co-host. I said, man, I can't keep up with all these twists and turns. But if you go over there to the Facebook page, I was just perusing because they actually are great singers, the Lamar sisters, they are. And they have a lot of churches of which they've sung together at, and they sound really good. You can't make this stuff up. Listen, I'm just trying to stay. You don't have to worry about attorney. What is this attorney's name again? Attorney sir that wants the gag order. Attorney Hoover, you don't have to worry about me. I'm just trying to cover the case. All this other stuff just ends up popping up. But you got some constitutional issues on this. You really do. In my opinion, Shirley used Ernest to perpetrate a lavish lifestyle, and Ernest used her for the clout. They were in it together. Okay, Tandra. Nesto Rico can't disguise himself anymore. It's national news. Cobb County inmates know who he is. It is national news. Now, I think it was interesting when the arraignment happened that's when the news came. And the news didn't come to the next day. So the arraignment was the 29th, and the news report was like the 30th, the 30th. So, but yeah, they're in there now. Yes, she got a deacon. You heard what she said. She said, she was like, my life partner is a deacon. I don't know anything about this stuff. Yeah, her best bet was to do what she did and just admit to whatever she did, if anything, with her plea, because Ernest, he basically didn't show on that phone call. He's basically acknowledged that he's going to blame her because he feel like he's been set up. So Tubi needs to make this a movie. I got a few movies for Tubi at this point since I've been on YouTube. It's a few movies from a couple of these cases. High Vibe says she's a pathological liar. I was just bringing the information. That's it. Guys, judge how you will. Judge how you will. Renaissance said, remember Nesto wanted Denzel to play him? That was like when Aretha Franklin said she wanted Halle Berry to play her. You guys remember? Pam, the news saw your live street coverage. Thank you, Patty, for the super chat. I appreciate you. I don't think Shirley is 100% innocent. Something is strange. That's what Life Unleashed said. Listen, I don't know. I'm just reporting. That's it. He is innocent until proven guilty. Shirley is not. Now, there was an unindicted person in that indictment. I wonder who that is. That had something to do with it was an unindicted co-conspirator that had to do with the car when it was a bad check written allegedly for the car to get it fixed. So I wonder who that person is. You guys think it might get bigger? Because we haven't even gotten to the other allegations that are out there. That would be a whole different indictment. If he's indicted, if the grand jury feels like there's enough probable cause. But those cases are still open, so they haven't closed those. Netflix did murder. I know Tubi can do Nesto. Why Netflix? Why Nesto can't get on Netflix? I think he can get on Netflix. He got a story to tell. We started covering this in what? August or September or something? It's been something every month. We have never had a month where we didn't have, well, yeah, because he had a lot of bond hearings. Yeah, it's been a lot. Zoom hearings. I've been to hearings just from the legal aspect. He's had quite a bit going on. So now, like I said, we're going to see a lot of motions being filed. Some things I am going to make it my habit to come on and explain it, because I think sometimes I just think like, oh, that's just what you do in the beginning. You file the motions, you make sure you request discovery, so they have to turn everything over. If there's any informants, you want to know the name and the identity of those informants. Those are kinds of what we say par for the course, like you do it as routine. But this gag order, I believe it was because he probably voiced not appreciating having cameras and people talking about it. I don't know if he's been forthright as to his contribution to a lot of the media coverage, but I'm pretty sure that was probably something that he brought up. What would the title of the movie be? You know what? I don't know. That's a good question. Dominique, they actually have Dominique's real name in when they were talking about the ring in the incident report. They have her real name. So that's why I said some of the things Erica said, like when she talked about Carol Lamar being a gospel artist, we were able to verify that. When she talked about the name changing and how he changed names, when she said Dominique was not her real name, I knew that from the incident report. That is not her real name. So there are some name changes that are going on. Who changes the names? I don't know, but there are name changes that go on. The case is huge. Do you think there will be a plea if Nesto can point to bigger fish? I think this is a network. Weird videos. That'll be interesting. So you think that it's bigger than Nesto? Who could it be? Do you think it's like a Charlie's Angels situation? And nobody knows. They just have phone calls and they're like, "Hi, Charlie. What do you need? What is our mission?" Like, I don't know. How would, if this stuff allegedly is how he's getting the barber shops like this truck or the mobile cars and RVs and all that stuff, what would be the bigger enterprise? Just a question. Very interesting. Let me see this incident report. Now I'm wondering what this girl's real name is. You see the rent. Did I redact it? Let's see. Done. I can't remember. No, that's not it. I have to figure out the one of which, yeah, it has Dominique's actual real name on there. You said Nesto is a big fish. That's why Erica is getting the sweet deal. Do you like with Erica's though? She is not accused of all the things that Ernest. I get what you guys are saying, but she's not accused of all the things that Ernest is being accused of. She, again, all of these are just accusations, but she's being accused of, like, she's saying this is her boss. We pretty much know what she's saying is that a lot of things she did because everything was to protect Shirley, whatever that means. But it was the misrepresenting yourself as a lawyer, which also has other charges to it, like identity theft. When she turned in documents, and she had more than one occasion, more than one day where she acted like a lawyer allegedly. So you have the document she turns in whenever she signed this lady's name, that's an attorney. So her charges is not to say that, I mean, a crime is a crime, but her charges, she's not being accused of she's taking people's titles and switching them over in her name and all of this stuff like he is. They're different as to what. Now, because it looks like the indictment is different, I was wondering why, and I'll be very curious when it's time for her to actually plea. When you say 25 victims, who are these victims and why are they coming forward if most of the stuff is related to her representing herself to be someone she wasn't? Unless you're talking about, remember, she's allegedly involved with the whole house situation on Pine Grove. So unless those, because she, like, maybe Mark, the landlord, because she was the alleged liaison between getting the lease and signing the lease. Maybe, I guess, because Sheridan's name was thrown in there, Shirley Strawberry's name allegedly was on the lease. There were people in that driveway, but I thought it was the driveway next door. Maybe because those people's vehicles were being kept in the driveway of which she helped get the house. So maybe that is why. But I've been trying to connect, like, where's all of her alleged victims coming from, because that is why she wasn't able to plea on that day, was because she wanted to get sentenced on the day that she pleads, and they said that there are 25 alleged victims. So that has to encompass more than obviously you pretending to be a lawyer. Night Skin said, I'm learning so much about criminal law because of this. It floors me what people try to get away with. Who are if you guys are really coming up with titles for this movie. And the thing with Erica is she's not a dummy. I mean, again, she's degrees. She does seem like she's been around reputable people and had reputable jobs. But and like when you look at the reason why, because I know he got upset about her getting a bond. And one of the reasons why, when she went to pretrial services and they were doing their assessments on her recommendation, it said A criminal history check revealed that that defendant was Erica. Her last arrest was on July 9th of 2022, and it was for theft by taking and criminal trespass in Fulton County. The defendant does not appear to have an open case pending. The defendant does not appear to be on probation or parole. The defendant does not have prior felony convictions within the past 10 years. So looking at like how Sonia was describing her, I was like, dang, her record must be jacked up. The defendant does not have 2 or more failure to appears within the past 10 years. The defendant does not have 3 or more violations of probation and parole within the past 10 years, has not been convicted for 2 or more violent offenses within the last 10 years. So because of that, based on the criminal history, they said that it was recommended for her to have an unsecured judicial release. And she had that on top of being very ill and not having her medication. So I'm not sure where that whole, I just lit a whole background with her background. You can't have nothing. She probably swiping your ID. You know how you guys were like, had me paranoid. I had to go buy a whole nother phone because you guys were like, no, don't let her use it. I done let like 3 people at that court use my phone. I mean, I dialed the number though. Like I ain't let nobody just get in my phone. But now you guys got me all paranoid. I'm like, let me go get me another like, let me go get a whole nother phone with a whole nother. Y'all done had me change up everything, got me all paranoid, checking my accounts every 5 minutes. You like, she got your cash app. She got your cash app. I'm looking at my cash app like, oh my God, okay. I get a rant. I get like, I literally get scam likely and all that every single day. Now all of a sudden I'm paranoid when I get the little calls or whatever that come through where they tell you that it's spam. Now you guys got me all paranoid because I think this girl done swiped my whole life because I dialed the number and let her get the see who her Uber was. I'm not doing it again. I'm bringing my second phone. I got a whole throwaway phone now. It's gonna be for everybody to use when they say they need a phone. Cause you guys had me. No, don't do it. It was like in slow motion. I had already done it. Don't do it. That's how you guys were doing me. Had me all paranoid. Then I got in the car. Dad was like, "But they right though. You should." You right. I left you for 5 minutes and you sitting up there letting all these people use your stuff. Okay, KK Scorpio. Let me see if I've seen your super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Let me find it. You said, just for the record, would you say I wonder why the Pine Grove Road address was on a 2015 case? That part! Man, I seen that too. It was another case of which the Pine Grove was on. Yes, that is correct. Thank you for the super chat, KK Scorpio. I appreciate you. Sometime former LE thinks that he's going to wait until they obtain all discovery evidence and then try to get a plea deal. Thoughts? Well, it's no point of getting a plea deal if you don't even know the evidence they have against you. Why would I plead if I feel like your evidence is weak? So it doesn't make sense until you know what they're alleging and what who your accusers are and what they're alleging. I don't think we even know all the information. I think if he holds a preliminary examination, we would learn so much more than what we know. Because again, we have I didn't even continuously try to get if more complaints or incident reports came out. I just had the incident reports or try to get the ones related to the cases we knew about. But when this indictment came out and it ended up having all these counts, I'm like, oh, we don't even know everything that they're alleging. So I don't know. What about old boy in Washtenaw County driving on suspended L's on the Zoom with a judge? Yeah, that was crazy, but kind of in his defense, but not really. he had a child support. His license was suspended based on child support. For those of you guys that saw that video that went viral of the guy that was taking his wife to the doctors, but he was going on Zoom with a judge for a driving while license suspended. So when you look back in 2013, he did have a license suspended based on child support, and then it was taken back, but it was never updated. And Secretary of State still had it down that he didn't have a license, which probably meant he probably should have went down there and tried to reinstate his license and paid the $10 or whatever. So I guess in his mind, he felt like once they said that that it wasn't suspended anymore, that he was good to drive. But that means you have to go and get it reinstated. Like you got to pay whatever the fee is and get it reinstated. So in theory, he was supposed to have his license, but he didn't do everything. I don't think he was supposed to. And that's why he didn't have one. Does the gag order cover the CP cases or just the RICO? It would be just this RICO case and all of the other counts within this indictment. He's unindicted still on the CP cases. So, Anastasia Nelson, thank you so much for becoming a member. I already read that. I hope I got everybody. LRC Love said, thank goodness you're here. I've been listening to fake attorneys all day. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Summer Breeze said, congrats on your son's graduation. Thank you. Yes, my baby boy just graduated from high school yesterday. And if Dev had not knocked me up, I would have been done. But now, because of Dev, I have a high school graduate, and then next week I'm gonna have a kindergarten graduate. So I'm starting all over. So I can't even get all too excited like that no more. But thank you. I'll let them know. I know it's just crazy. I'm like, both of y'all got cap and gowns, and one's up here and one's way down here, but they are literally like 12th grade and kindergarten. That is like so crazy. I have no kids in between. It's crazy. It's crazy. It is all Dev's fault. It is his fault. I don't recall, Alice. I don't recall. I don't recall. Thank you, it's me. That's what I said. Dang it, Dev. Dang it. Thank you. You said, I'm with you. I have one in college and my little one is going to first grade. Lexi the law nerd. It might be a law thing. Maybe we should have did something else, hon. Because it is not cute. Let me see if I got a picture for you guys when we get off this joint of my two graduates. Let's see if you guys can see. Here's my two graduates right there. Y'all see me? There go my baby at the bottom, and there go my son. It's still funny to me. It's still hilarious. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Look at little Pam. Child, that is Dev all day. I'm just here. I was the surrogate. They could definitely be okay without me and be like, I look like a student. Oh, I like that comment, Jasmine. Nah, I haven't seen high school in years, decades. Mm-hmm. Really be now. That is Dev all day. I ain't had nothing to do with that. Congrats, Pam. My dad made me a middle child at 25, and I'm still. See, that's what it is, 504. That's why you always the life of the party. Thank you for the super chat, hon. I appreciate it. Melena said it's 15 years between me and my sister. Our mama sent me to stay with her every summer. That's what I said. I have my oldest son, the one that did the intro. He's actually 29. Yep. He is 29. All right, y'all. Let me see. Pam, I joined late, but is it possible Erica Nesto have charges currently in other states right now? If they had anything in other states, just I believe that it would have been announced if that was the case. But at least when she got out on bond, Erica didn't. I just went over the recommendation that she had from pretrial services. So yeah, honey, 29. Everybody always say that. I'm like, yeah. He has a degree from University of Michigan. He graduated from college. Shucks. 7 years ago, he was a teacher in Baltimore for a couple years. Now he's in New Orleans. You said y'all deep up in here must be Detroit. Detroit. Right. 2,300 up in this mug at midnight. I said I was going to be on for a couple of minutes and you guys kept me on for an hour and a half. But I enjoy it. I enjoy every minute. You thought I was 30, child. I ain't seen 30 in a long time, but thank you. I appreciate that. That is so sweet of you. Thank you guys again for all of the super chats and all that.
And another thing you notice, the first thing they say, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. That's what it's all about. After they get them dogging you out, before they dog you out, that's the first thing they say. If you like this video, make sure you hit.
You have 1 minute remaining.
It's 2,300 of you guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. As these motions come out, I'll be coming out. Any new information come out, I'll come out. Keep the emails coming when you guys have questions, and I'll come out and answer. Thank you guys for rocking with your girl. And I'm going to holler at you guys next time. Have a good night.